Three-way matching is a crucial process in accounts payable. It prevents any incorrect and fraudulent payments and deliveries and makes the audit process much faster. Additionally, three-way matching strengthens vendor and supplier relationships. But three-way matching can be quite cumbersome. It's also error-prone to do manual data entry, mark the discrepancies, and follow up on mismatches among all the line items of goods and services that has been ordered, received, and billed. Compiling so much documentation and reviewing it requires many eyes and hours that leads to delayed payments. The entire procure-to-pay process can take up to 30 days. The good news is that the whole process can be streamlined with Peakflo's three-way matching. Let's take a look at how you can expedite and extend control and visibility over your three-way matching process with Peakflo. Let's start with purchase orders. The purchase orders can be created in Peakflo or can be synced from your accounting software to Peakflo. Purchase orders can follow tailored and automated approval workflows and get approved in no time. Once the purchase orders are fully approved, the vendors can log into Peakflo vendor portal and access the purchase orders under the customer purchase order section. The vendors can easily check the information of the purchase order along with the line item details and prices from the timeline. Now let's take a look at the process of goods and services receipt note. The receipt notes can also be synced from the accounting software to Peakflo. The purchasing or warehouse team can easily match the receipt note to an existing purchase order in Peakflo. Instead of the procurement team checking all the details of the purchase order and receipt note manually, Peakflo will automatically match the receipt note line item details with the purchase order details and flag any mismatches. The procurement team can follow up on the mismatches by tagging the relevant stakeholders and leaving comments. Once all the errors are resolved and the warnings are validated, the receipt notes can be submitted for approval based on the assigned approval policy. Upon material inspection completion, the receipt note will be marked as fully approved by the material inspection team. Then the fully approved receipt notes will sync back to the accounting software and will be accessible to the vendors through the customer receipt note in their vendor portal. The receipt note information along with the line item details can easily be checked from the timeline by the vendors. Now let's take a look at the invoices. For advance payments, the invoice can be issued via fully approved purchase orders. And for delivered goods, the invoice can be created via approved receipt notes to make sure the vendors are not under-delivering the items. In both cases, by clicking on Create Invoice, the vendors will be able to issue invoices with a single click for your organization. At the time of invoice creation, the item's unit price cannot be edited by the vendors to make sure vendors are not overcharging. Additionally, Peakflo will automatically match the receipt note or the purchase order line item details with the invoice and flag any mismatches before saving. After all the errors have been resolved, the invoice will be sent for approvals according to the assigned approval workflow by the vendors. Once the vendor invoice has been fully approved, the draft invoice will be available in the Bills and Reimbursements under Payable section for the Accounts Payable team. The bill details and audit trail can be tracked from the bill timeline. Once all the errors are resolved or validated, the bill can be submitted for approval. Peakflo will track all the partial payments made or the partially delivered goods automatically to ensure that there will be no overpayments and vendors will not overcharge or under-deliver items. After full approval of the bill will be scheduled for payment based on the due date. Now the three-way matching is complete. This is how Peakflo matches the goods and services you've ordered with what has been received and what has been billed. Now the procure-to-pay process is fully streamlined. You can say goodbye to any incorrect and fraudulent payments and deliveries, say hello to a much faster audit process, and strengthen vendor and supplier relationships. For more information, check out our help portal at help.peakflo.co.